This is direct variation. So the idea of direct variation is that when they say y or any other variables, right, varies directly as s. So this is just an example. So when it says something varies directly as s, this is the symbol that we are using, right? So y varies directly as s. So this is how you should write it. Or maybe some book use something like this. Is that okay? So they say y varies directly as this is a symbol, something that we are not familiar with, neither equal to, less than, or something that we can perform an operation. So the first step is that you must change this guy here, the symbol here, to something that we can easily solve. So the scenario here is that if you say the iPhone price changes as people wants to buy more, right? So the price of the iPhone here may change if people wants to buy more. Is that okay? But how do they change? Right? We don't know how it is changing. So that is one thing you have to focus on. But the key here is that if you say something varies directly as the other variables, this is the symbol. And then how to change that is the most important thing. Now, how do you remove this guy here? So the way of removing this guy is that assuming we want to buy this symbol with what an amount of money. So we are buying this symbol with what something that we already know. So to replace this one, you have to get something to you are familiar with. That is the equal to sign. So changing this guy to equal to sign, meaning that we are buying this guy, the symbol here, to the equal to sign. That is something that we're on. So what are you buying with? We are buying with for some constant. So we call it for a constant. So normally we use k to do that, right? Okay, so one of the questions, let's demonstrate that by this example. One of the questions says that p varies, right? So p varies directly as what? The cube root of q. So this is the cube root of q, right? Look at where the 3 is. The 3 is now multiplying. So whatever varies, the variable that you are having varies directly, right? Directly as the cube root of what? Of q. So this is how you should write it. Now, for us to take this guy off, as I said earlier, you have to buy this guy. So buy that is what we are changing this guy to equal to sign. So we are buying this guy with what? This k here. Is that okay? So that we can have the equal to sign. This is something that we are familiar with, right? So we are familiar with the k. So we are changing this guy to the k here. So once you are changing this guy, we are buying it to a k here, right? So everything remains the same as it is. So you have your p to be 4 and then the q to be 8. So all that you have to do is just need to replace them here, right? So once you replace them nicely, you can see that solve everything, because I don't want to make this video very long here. So solve everything, then you had your k to be what? To be 2, right? So you plug in here, you can punch this thing on the calculator to have 2 here. Okay, now they say you should find what? P when Q is equal to 64, right? Okay, as at this point, you can see that once you change this guy to to K, right? So changing this guy is the most important thing. So we are buying this guy from here to K. So changing this guy to equal to sign, and then we are buying this one with K. So the K must come here. K must always come after the equal to sign, right? So this is something that we can easily solve, but we don't know this symbol. Okay, so if you have your p to be 4 and then k to be what? 8 here, and then first of all you need to know what exactly amount you are paying for this guy. Is that okay? To understand it, you need to find the k here. So that's what I'm trying to say, that you have to know the amount that you are paying for this symbol here. So that is why you need to plug in the p to be 4 and the k to be 8 here. So whatever you see the p, let that p to be 4. Whatever you see the k, let that one to be what? To be 8. So the cubic root of what? 8 here will give us 2, right? So here is 4. So we are going to have 4 is equal to 2k. So divide both sides by what? By 2. Then you have your k to be what? To be 2. Okay. Then the question further says that you should find p. Is that okay? You should find this guy here, the p here, when k is equal to what? 64. So how do you do that? P is equal to q is equal to 64. They say you should find the p. So your p here will be equal to, look at that. This is what you have to use. Is that okay? So this is what you have to use. Your first equation just after the variation. That is what you have to use. So the k here, we had a k to be 2. Just replace here to be 2, and then the k here to be 64 as given what in the question here, right? So we are having 2 multiplied by this thing, is everything being multiplied. Is that okay? So 2 multiplied by this one. You can decide to point this thing on the calculator if you don't know how to solve this set here. And then this guy here, the one in the bracket, gives me 4, right? So 2 multiplied by 4 give me more 8. So your p there is what? Is a, this is how simple you solve the direct variation. The most important thing is that changing this guy to equal to sign. So just put it at the back of your mind that you are buying this guy with the k here. Is that okay? You are buying the guy with the k, then you change this one to what? Equal to sign, right? So thanks for watching this. One way to understand the inverse variation is that suppose you are moving this way, so you are moving in this direction. If you move in this direction, meaning that you are going forward, so you are going what in the direct of variation. So just for understanding. So if you return backwards like this, meaning that you are moving what the inverse direction, or you are going what the indirect of variation, right? So that is just the simple. So in this video, we are going to focus on the inverse. So maybe let's say you move from here to school and then from school to the house. So from the school to the house is the inverse direction or indirect of direction. So here we are having s is what inversely proportional to y. So one of the questions says s is what inversely proportional to y. If x is equal to -2 and then we had a y to be equal to a 3 here, let's say you should find your x. Is that okay? So the way of writing the inversely proportional, if you are familiar with the direct one, so you can see that this x is what so this is a variation symbol. Inversely proportional, I mean that 1 over whatever you are having. So in this case you had what y. Is that okay? So 1 over the whatever you are having tells you that you are moving in what the inverse or the what the indirect variation, right? So how do you change this guy to equal to side? Remember what I said in what the direct one. So for you to replace that guy, you have your equal to sign, and then the k here is exactly what we are buying this guy with, being multiplied by whatever is here. Is that okay? So meaning we are buying this guy with a k here, and then because we can change this guy to the equal to sign. So the way of multiplying this guy is multiplying whatever is in the bracket. So the way of multiplying this guy always multiply the one at the top, right? Some of you don't know how to multiply this. So this guy here, the k here, always multiply the one at the top. So you are going to have what k multiplied by 1, which is what k here, and then divided by the y. So this is what we are having. So initially we were told that the x is equal to -2 and then y is equal to 3. So here is a -3, that is equal to k over what over 3 here. So for you to add a k, you will have to multiply this guy by the 1 here, cross multiply, right? Multiply by 3 and then multiply by 3. So this guy will cancel that. So you're going to have -6 equal to k. So once you have your k here, you can easily solve for what the x here. Is that okay? So for you to solve for the x here, they say you should find the x, right? So from there we had the s to be equal to k over y. So in this case our k was -6, so s is equal to -6 divided by what was the y. We are giving the y to be what. Make sure that you comment this thing, finalize everything, and then give me your answer in the comment section. This video is purposely for direct and indirect variation, right? So in all, we are going to talk about joint thought variation. So it's a combination of the direct and what and the indirect thought variation, right? So once you're okay with the direct and the indirect, you should be okay with the joint, the combinations of the two. So I'll demonstrate that by one of the questions that says that W varies directly as u, right? So W varies directly as u, and 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 inversely as the square root of what v. So that is the combinations of the two. W varies directly as u and inversely also square root of v. So if w varies directly as u, it will be something like this, right? Is that okay? Now, if you say that it varies inversely as what the square root of what v is that 1 over what square root of what v. We are okay with this. So once they say that the two are being combined together, all I have to do is just combine it together. Is that okay? Combine the two together, right? Don't separate it to anything. So mathematically, they are multiplying, right? So they are multiplying. So this is exactly what I'm having here. We have w varies of directly as u and inversely as well square root of v. So of course you know how to take off this guy by replacing that. So we are going to buy this thing by the equal sign and the k here, right? So these guys are multiplying. So it's the top that is multiplying this guy, right? So this guy, the u is multiplying the top one. It doesn't multiply the one here, so it's multiply the top here. So that gives us ku over what square root of v. Is that okay? You are giving w to be 5 and then u to be 10, right? And then v to be 24. You just need to plug into and then find the values of the k. So once you solve this, you are going to have your k to be equal to that's the root of 6. Is that okay? If you don't know how to solve set, make sure that you comment in the group below, or maybe join the channel for all about set, right? So here you just need to use this guy to multiply the 5 here. So the 5 will multiply the 2. That will give us 10 root 5. So you divide both sides by 1. Then you are going to have your k to be equal to 6. Is that okay? Now the question further says that you should find w when u is equal to 3 and what and 6. If you're okay with the direct and the indirect, this should be very easy for you. The only trick here is that W varies directly as the first thing that be given to you. So in this case, it's you. And inversely, once they say and inverse, just open the bracket here and bring the inverse. So we are combining the direct and what the inverse together. Is that okay? There's no separation. There's no nothing here. Alright, so once you want to take off this variation sign, you have to bring the equal to sign and what the k, right? And then you proceed as usual.